Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Here in Montana, it's important to understand that you are a northern border state with a southern border problem. Talking about you on the way. Thank you for being
Vice President Mike Pence back in Billings, spending the day talking tough on drugs and the importance of treatment and prevention.
This and supporting Senator Steve Daines in his bid for re-election. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Air Force Two touching down in Billings just before noon today.
A smooth landing up at the Billings Logan International Airport. The Vice President and Second Lady Karen Pence, accompanied by Senator Steve Daines and Representative Greg Gianforte, all stepped off the plane together. And once on the ground, Pence was met with applause.
He then took several minutes to meet, greet, and shake hands with supporters standing by on the tarmac. He played to the moment, even giving out one last wave before his motorcade drove off.
Well, the draw to Billings, a much more serious conversation, though, as the Vice President visited Riverstone Health to hear firsthand about the drug epidemic in rural America.
Q2's Samantha Sullivan was there and has more on what the Vice President had to say to Montanans.
If you're involved in selling drugs to people here in Montana, we are going to find you and we are going to stop you.
Vice President Mike Pence coming to Montana to meet with local law enforcement and healthcare professionals to hear the struggles of the methamphetamine problem firsthand.
Meth runs these streets. Crimes are increasing and law enforcement is struggling to keep up. The drug is cheap, easy to get, and more potent than ever before.
The meth that we see here in Montana is different meth than it was several years ago. The homegrown meth at 25% purity that we used to see in Montana has been replaced with Mexican cartel meth with purities north of 95%.
But it's not just the criminal side of the drug. Meth is tearing Montana families apart.
While law enforcement is essential, I want you to know we understand that we can't arrest our way out of this problem. We've got to provide remedies and opportunities for rehabilitation.
The Vice President meeting with women at Willow Way, a rehabilitation center where women struggling with addiction can get the help they need while still caring for their children.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Just got to the last phase and I have a light at the end of the tunnel. I have hope and courage again, and I now know how to be an amazing mom to my son. So I'm doing really good. This program has helped me a lot.
These women were just part of the inspiration behind a bill that Senator Steve Daines pushed for in Congress, allowing more communities to develop a similar style of rehabilitation and care so women can stay with their children throughout treatment and improve the outcomes for their families.
If you are caught up in drug abuse and addiction, in the grip of addiction here in Montana, there is help. The people of this state and this nation want to put their arms around you and help you restart your life free of drug addiction.
In Billings, Samantha Sullivan, MTN News.
Well, today, Democratic Senator Jon Tester thanked Vice President Pence for coming to Montana, but still had some sharp criticism over budget cuts to the exact program that the Vice President was here to meet.
Well, Vice President Pence also meeting opposition on the streets of Billings today. Planned Parenthood advocates of Montana protesting not over the meth crisis, but in a motion to help protect the Title X program, which helps low-income people access birth control, cancer screenings, and other reproductive health care. A gag rule proposal from President Trump's administration would have stripped funding from Planned Parenthood and restricted health clinics that receive any Title X funding from referring patients to abortion providers. However, a district court judge issued a nationwide injunction back in April, and that gag rule has not been able to take effect.
Well, a busy day on the streets and highways here in Billings as the Vice President and Second Lady crisscross the city for events. That motorcade causing some road closures and major delays all along the way.
Well, Q2's David J. is standing by live in downtown Billings tonight, where streets and parking lots remain blocked and will stay that way until Air Force Two takes off in the morning. David.
Well, Jeanelle, Russ, we're out here on North 27th Street at First Avenue North. Doubletree Hotel is right behind us. Right, we've got all the streets blocked off all around. No cars can get through at this point. A lot of people walking around. Some people walking around, and also some riding some bikes. We're told that the Vice President and Mrs. Pence didn't actually make it out into downtown Billings tonight, and they're all inside for the evening. If you look over here, you are seeing some trucks that are out there to be part of the blockade. They've got that all around the hotel, and also the Billings Police Department out on scene as well, letting traffic get around but not through. Earlier today, the motorcade caused quite a delay. The motorcade with the Vice President and Mrs. Pence left Billings Logan International Airport close to noon, went down Airport Road to Main Street, Exposition, and then headed over to First Avenue South. An accident on Interstate 90 involved some vehicles there in the eastbound direction near Lockwood. That crash caused quite a backup there, and we're told that because of some of the closures, it caused some delays for emergency crews to get to the crash scene. More delays at the Vice President's group made its way through and around Billings, and later in the day, officers had secured Montana Avenue in the motorcade to get that back downtown. You're also looking at some daytime video right around the Doubletree Hotel. Now, this closure is a 24-hour closure. We're told that the Vice President and Mrs. Pence will be leaving Billings, heading up to the airport sometime between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So there will be some more delays on the way up to the airport. They will be headed out to go to West Yellowstone, where the Vice President is also scheduled to speak. So that is the latest from downtown. Russ and Jeanelle, back to you.
All right, Q2's David J. live from downtown Billings, where the Vice President will stay the night.
Well, Vice President Pence's wife Karen visited the Sassy Biscuit in downtown Billings today. That's an eatery run by a military spouse.
She then addressed more local spouses at the Armed Forces Reserve Center, talking about the importance of families to the military. Pence's son Michael is serving in the Marines, so Mrs. Pence is very familiar with the sacrifices families make.
She says the strength of the country comes from spouses and families.
So I just want you to know that we are so proud of each and every one of you. You military spouses are the home front heroes. You really are. You're the ones that keep our military strong. You are what we like to call the backbone of the military, and you contribute directly to the strength and resilience of the military.
Now, Karen Pence noted the high unemployment rate for military spouses, but said there are numerous federal programs to help find jobs.
Well, Vice President Pence wrapped up his day in Billings with a fundraiser at Lone Wolf Energy for Senator Steve Daines. Tomorrow, the Vice President, along with the Second Lady, will travel to Yellowstone National Park. Air Force Two scheduled to arrive at Yellowstone Airport at 10 a.m. The Vice President will tour the park with current Secretary of Interior David Bernhardt. Pence will stop at Old Faithful and give remarks about the Trump administration's support to rebuild national park infrastructure. Later that night, the Pences will return to Washington, D.C.
Now on to the weather scene tonight. Q2 Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joins us. And Bob, it's just like a leaky faucet. Just when you think the water's going to stop, another drip.
Another batch may be coming in. Yeah, probably starting sometime tomorrow evening, about 5:30ish or so, when we're on the air. But what's going to happen? We thought, since we're expecting a lot of rain the next several days, let me show you where we're at right now. And this kind of gives us a starting point. Right now at Billings, we're at 8.45 inches. We're about 166 ahead of normal. And last year at this time, we were almost at 11 inches, so we're actually a little bit below what we were last year. Glasgow, kind of in the same department. They're at 4.13 inches, so they're actually a little bit below normal for this time of year. And they're actually also below normal for last year as well. By Great Falls, well, they're at 7.24. They're a little ahead of normal, but last year they were at 8.55, so that means they're also right around a little bit behind normal from last year. And on one more stop, Miles City, they're almost at 6 inches. They're a little ahead of normal, but you'll notice last year they were over 9 inches, so they're a little bit behind last year at this date as well. So we're looking at some more showers. We'll see, probably play a little catch-up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and right on into Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, more of that and show to you in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob.
Well, it comes decades too late for some, but Navy veterans exposed to Agent Orange during the Vietnam War are finally getting some help.
Both Montana senators played a part in making it happen. The Blue Water Navy Vietnam Veterans Act of 2019 passed the Senate today and is now headed to the president's desk.
That act changes the current law to guarantee that veterans who served off the shores of Vietnam can get access to health care and benefits. Currently, those benefits only apply to those who served inside the borders of the country.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, livestock haulers are taking on Washington, D.C. in order to protect not only their livelihoods, but the lives of their shipments as well.
Plus, 25 years ago today, the murder that sparked one of the most famous court cases of all time. A look back at the O.J. Simpson case.
And in sports, he's the world's #1 UFC fighter, hanging out in Great Falls today. We catch up with Daniel Cormier.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.